Hi guys, it's Jessica. Today I thought I would do a book tag. And the book tag I'm going to do is the end of the year book tag, which I understand is a traditional book tag that you're supposed to do in, I'm thinking November. Let's say November. Okay, so this has 6 questions and I'm going to get all the way through it and then I'm going to leave it open so that if you would like to do this tag, you can tag yourself and just leave me a comment and let me know. So let's go ahead and get started with question 1. Are there any books you've started this year that you still need to finish? Yes. So traditionally, I don't like reading more than one book at the same time, but I have managed to get myself into a place where I currently have 4 books going on at the same time. I have my regular book, I have a book I'm reading for a vlog, I have 2 other books that I'm going to talk about right now. So I need to finish. The first one is going to be Exhalation, which is a collection of short stories by Ted Chiang. I am, as you can see, not super far into the book, but I am working on it and I am actually really enjoying it. This is a collection of, I would say, literary science fiction stories. I know that Ted Chiang is a very popular author. A lot of people really love his books, and this is my first short story collection of his. And I have just gotten to The Life Cycle of Software Objects, which is the one that I think won either the Hugo or the Nebula Awards. So I'm excited to read it. I'm just procrastinating because short stories are hard for me to prioritize when I have so many other things to get through. But I am going to read this by the end of the year. So this is one. And then the other one is going to be Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. That is book 4 in the Stormlight Archive. I am currently 200 pages into the book and I really, really, really need to finish reading it this month. I have a hold at the library on Wind and Truth, the new book, when it comes out in December, and I am a little bit concerned that I'm not going to be done with Rhythm of War by then because I have been struggling to get through this one, and I think I just need to give myself permission to maybe skim read the sections that I'm struggling with, which are primarily sections that are about kind of the hard details of the magic system and the magical devices that they make within this world that he has created. I have to tell you all that I have realized something about myself this year, and it is that I am not a hard magic system person. I don't need to know in great detail how the logic of the magic system works. And in fact, I get really bored if I have to read about it for a long time. Give me some like Lord of the Rings stuff where it's just like a mystical ring because it's a mystical ring, okay? I don't need to know how it works. And I know that Brandon Sanderson is kind of like the king of the hard magic system, and it's fine. It's fine, but the problem is we're on book 4 now and it's gotten increasingly difficult. And I'm not always sure that I'm completely understanding it correctly. So that's why I've been struggling a little bit, but I think I've just got to get through it. And if I have to skim those parts, you know what? It's okay, because that's not why I'm reading the book. I'm reading the book for the characters, not for the magic system. All right, so let's look at question 2. Question 2 is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Yes. So I have already done my November TBR, and I think the most autumnal book that I have on it is going to be The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. This edition in particular has like yellowed pages with deckled edges and old-fashioned end papers, and it's just a lovely book. And this is I would say a gothic mystery story. And I am planning to read it this month. I'm doing it as a buddy read, so hopefully that's going to encourage me to get through it. I have read this one before. It's a reread, and I'm really looking forward to it because my reading has been a little bit of a struggle so far this month, and I need something that I know I'm going to enjoy. So that's going to be my autumnal book to transition. And then the next question is question 3. Is there a new release that you're still waiting for? So obviously I said Rhythm of War. I'm trying to get through it because Wind and Truth is coming out in December, the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to read that in December or if I'm going to have to put that off because I don't want to read it at a time that I'm burned out from reading the book before. So that may get pushed to the new year. I'm not completely sure yet. And if it does, that's okay. It's okay. If I don't meet that reading goal, it's not a big deal. I will have read, 5,000 pages of Stormlight Archive this year because I started the series over, so it's all right. So beyond that, I do have a few that are new releases that I have on hold at the library or I'm waiting for in Kindle Unlimited. The first one is called Beneath the Poet's House. So this is a historical thriller that is about a writer whose husband has recently passed away. She's suffering from writer's block, and she moves into this home that used to be owned by a very famous writer. And she meets some, I think, spiritualists of the age that the book is set in, and I think some spooky stuff happens. I don't really know. It is by the author who wrote The Daughters of Block Island, Krista Carmen, which I have right here, which I'm actually planning on reading this month. So if I like this one, then I'm probably going to check out that one too. It is coming to Kindle Unlimited. I've already got a hold on it there. And let's see, what other new releases do I have on my Libby list? Okay, so I also have The Peculiar Garden of Harriet Hunt. This is a historical fantasy. Again, I think set in Victorian times. Our main character is Harriet, whose father has disappeared, leaving her alone in her Victorian home, where she's a little bit of a recluse. And a lot of it seems like it's going to be about her garden. She finds that there was a plot that led to her father's disappearance, that kind of thing. Honestly, if I'm honest, I just really love the cover. And it sounds like something I would like. So that's another one I'd like to read. And I also have a book that just came out, which is The Teller of Small Fortunes. And this one looks like it's going to be a cozy fantasy. You may be noticing a trend here. I feel that right now what I need is some cozy in my life. So a lot of cozy stuff. So The Teller of Small Fortunes. A wandering fortune teller finds an unexpected family in this warm and wonderful debut fantasy, perfect for readers of Travis Baldree and Sangu Mandana. Which would be Legends and Lattes and The Irregular Society of Part-Time Witches, I think are the two books that you would get from that. So I don't know that much about it, but I know it's cozy fantasy, and I know that I think that's what I need right now. So those are a couple books that I'm looking for. I don't know if I'll actually get to any of them or not, but I do have holds on them. So if I have time, I will be sure to tell you what I think about them before the end of the year. All right, question 4. What are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, so I have 3 books. They're all cozy. The first one I want to read is Will Prescribe You a Cat. And this is one of those Japanese translated works that are basically a series of interconnected short stories that all have to do with, I think, the healing powers of cats in people's lives. I don't know. It sounds heartwarming. It's going to be similar to Before the Coffee Gets Cold, that series. And I think what you're looking for, you can find in the library. There's a lot of books that are like this, and this one's about cats, so I feel like I need it in my life. Then I also have The Spell Shop. I was not going to read this, and I'm still not 100% sure that I'm going to really, really like it. It is a cozy fantasy, but I don't think it's completely without plot. I heard people kind of arguing about whether it was cozy or not, and that sounds like it might be kind of a little bit more up my alley. But we'll see. So I do have a hold on that at the library. I am planning to read that. And then the last one is Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret, which is a Christmas novella in the series of books that started with Everyone in My Family is a Murderer, I think is the title. And I think that series is super cozy and fun, and I enjoy the idea of a Christmas novella. I haven't found any Christmas mysteries or Christmas romances outside of that I want to read at the end of the year. So if you have any suggestions for those, I would love to read some. I am kind of picky. I like things that are heartwarming, but I don't like things that are like Hallmark movies. So I feel like that might be kind of a tall order. But if you have any suggestions, please drop them down in the comments and I will definitely check them out. Okay, number 5, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? And I do have on my TBR for the month of November, I have The Book Thief. And I think this is going to be either I love it more than anything, or I don't like it at all because the writing style is the writing style is like a thing. It is different. If you have not read this book, I read just the first chapter, and it is very much like, there's a lot of like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's a very non-traditional writing style, so I'm kind of waiting to see whether that's going to vibe with me or not, because sometimes I love that and sometimes I don't. But I know I have to give myself at least, say, 100 pages to give it a fair shake. But I think I might love this. I know a lot of people really love it. It is a World War II young adult book. It's also possible that it might be a little bit too heavy for me right now, so, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and see if I can make my way through it this month. And if I can, then I'll let you know. It might show up on my end of the year list. All right, and then we are to the last question, which is going to be, have you already started making reading plans for next year? And the answer is yes, always. I will have a whole video about my reading goals for next year. I have many. I have a lot of big plans for the videos that I'm going to put out in December and early January. We'll see. We'll see how many of those I get to. But reading plan wise, there are a few sequels coming out in the first quarter of the year that are to series that I am in the middle of and I'm really excited about. We have the new Emily Wilde book. I think that's coming out in February. Very excited. That's going to be the last book of the trilogy, and I am so excited to see where it goes. And then we're going to have a new book in the Tainted Cup series coming in the spring, which is a kind of like mystery, cozy mystery, H.P. Lovecraft inspired. I don't know. It's a mystery fantasy. It's really good. And so I'm really excited to get my hands on that. And then we're also going to have the next book in the series that started with Swordcatcher, which I think is just the name of the series, by Cassandra Clare. I'm not a huge Cassandra Clare fan, but I did really, really enjoy the first book in that series, so I am definitely going to be picking up that one. And then we also have a new book coming out by Rachel Gillig, who wrote One Dark Window, which is somewhere. There we go. One Dark Window. She has a new book coming out called, I think, The Night and the Moth, which has just had a cover reveal that looks really good. And of course, I have a ton of arcs and things like that to get through always because I keep requesting them. And yeah, I'm expecting next year to be hopefully a really great reading year. This has been a great reading year. Still have a lot of stuff to do. I have, like I said, plans for a lot of videos that I'm going to be putting out in December. I really, really love making lists and I love end of the year stuff. So I'm so excited to finish up my first year on Booktube by getting to put out my own end of the year list, which I have not done before. And yeah, with that, I am all the way through the prompts. If you would like to do this book tag, consider yourself tagged. I would love if you would leave me a link or drop me a message to let me know that you've done it so that I can check out your answers, because I love watching everyone's answers to these questions. And I hope that you all have a fantastic week. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.